Atlanta Falcons fascinate me to no end. I am so confused as to what their front office is doing half the time, what direction it's going. It reminds me of a hockey team that was led by Marc Bergevin with the Montreal Canadiens. They make these weird, wacky moves, yet they somehow kind of work. And that's where I am with the Falcons. I don't necessarily get their moves all the time, but they seem to work. And that's really something I'm going to discuss when we get to the draft portion of this preview. But up first, we have to really look at this team and what they did in the offseason. Now, the biggest move they made in the offseason was bringing in Leonard Floyd as a pure free agent. Leonard Floyd will help their pass rushing unit because, honestly, he's a warm body, and it didn't feel like the Falcons had that last year. Floyd is nothing special. He's a talented guy that can get some pressure on the quarterback and can help stop rushing lanes opening up, helping clog up the rush. That's very key for a defense, especially like the Falcons, who are going to be in a tougher division that's going to rely on running the football, as they're in the same division with the Saints, who are going to be very run-heavy, the Panthers, who are going to be very run-heavy, the Buccaneers, who now have a bell cow running back they can hand the ball off to get those yardage in Bucky Irvine. It's a very fascinating division the Falcons are in. That's why I really like the Leonard Floyd addition. Now, to focus on their draft picks, really the two you need to highlight here are their two first-round picks. Jalen Walker, who, if you heard me, I wasn't the biggest fan of him as an edge rusher. I really liked him as a middle linebacker because I thought he had a lot of athletic traits, can play downhill, can be a good force playing like that. As an edge, he worries me a bunch. His size isn't what I like to see in an edge rusher, and I don't feel like he has those physical traits that really make me go, wow, he's going to be unstoppable at the next level. From everything I have heard, though, and this is why I really like him as linebacker, was he is extremely intelligent. He has a high football IQ, which makes you excited for any draft pick. Because anybody who is deemed high football IQ means they're going to pick up their defensive playbook better than an average draft pick. Now we look at their other first-round draft pick in James Pierce Jr., who I do really like. I have my concerns about him. Of course, the production is a question mark, but there is something there that I get the trade. Now, I'm not entirely happy giving up with what the Falcons gave up, a first-round pick next year, but James Pierce Jr. is someone I had grade higher as an edge rusher than Jalen Walker. The Falcons need edge rushers. If he can work out there, it's a trade worthwhile because the biggest issue with the Falcons team is just the fact that he can't put any pressure on the quarterback. Working with really good defensive mind Raheem Morris to help develop him, I have some really high expectations for James Pierce Jr. They also added two guys I was a big fan of as well. Xavier Watts, the safety at Notre Dame. I really liked him as a range and safety. And Billy Bowman Jr., who really fascinates me because I loved his playmaking on the ball. They didn't have a whole bunch of picks, but those two picks combined with their first two picks really intrigued me at the Falcons' direction of just trying to improve this defense. If the Falcons can improve their defense, they very much can win the NFC South. It's going to be between them and Tampa at the end of the year. The question is, how much can these rookies impact that at the end of the day? Now, if we're talking about the Falcons, I think it's important to talk about the quarterback situation. They have Kirk Cousins, who they're paying a lot of money to sit on the bench. It seems like no one is willing to trade with what the Falcons want to give up for Kirk Cousins, but they don't seem that torn up about it because he's going to be working with Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr., I was a big fan of his draft year last year. The only problem I had with him was his injury history because it was a long list of injuries he dealt with in college. That's something that just concerns me when I look at people translating from college to the NFL. They had injuries in college against lesser athletes. These guys don't hit as hard as NFL players do. How are you going to translate to the NFL when they're going to hit you harder? You're going to feel these shots a little bit longer. It's a concern for me. But with Michael Penix Jr., I think right now is their best option by a long shot because with what we saw with Kirk Cousins last year is his best days are well behind him. His arm did not look strong enough. His pocket movement was just not there. It was non-existent whatsoever. He's just not what he once was. Meanwhile, Penix does have some athleticism. He is sneakily athletic. He really is a pocket passer, but he will run and gain yards if he sees the open lanes. He is a very good passer, and it's very interesting to see how they develop the offense around him because he is a left-handed quarterback, which is very rare in the NFL. Most times with a quarterback, you have the blind side be the left tackle. For Michael Penix Jr., the blind side will be the right tackle. There will be more emphasis put on that right tackle position. but the Falcons do have pieces around him I love. Drake London is a great 50-50 catcher. Bijan Robinson is one of the best running backs in the NFL. Kyle Pitts, I think, can really pop with him as a quarterback, finally having a quarterback that can push the ball to him. Also have Tyler Algier as a backup running back who I really like as well, and their offense line isn't too bad. The question of the Falcons, though, will remain on the defensive side of the football. Jesse Bates is a really good safety. AJ Terrell is a really good cornerback. That's right around when you stop having the positives come up for the Falcons, especially the fact that they no longer have Grady Jarrett there. It's a very interesting defense that's going to rely a lot of their young guys stepping up. You're going to need a Troy Anderson to really step up. You're going to need Arnold Ebiketie to step up. You're going to need these younger players. Also, a guy I really want to highlight because I was a big fan of him last year when he entered the draft, Rook Ororo. And I apologize if I messed up that name, but he was someone I was a big fan of, but I wanted to see how he translates in the back half of his rookie contract. I don't necessarily expect a jump year 2. I think year 3 and year 4 is really where Rook is going to shine. But he really intrigued me as a player because I loved his pass rushing ability and his natural athleticism at the interior defensive tackle position. Now, something I do want to add before I give my overall thoughts where I think the Falcons will finish in the division is I don't think this is a last-ditch effort to save their job type offseason. I've seen a lot of people speculate that, the Falcons trade up because they might be fired by this time next year, so that pick doesn't really matter. Arthur Blank's not really the type of owner to have only 2 years of a guy and then move off him. That's not what he did with Arthur Smith, even though he should have. He holds on to coaches a little longer than maybe he should have, and he just doesn't move off them. He wants to give them time to go with their vision. In the Falcons, we really haven't seen their vision yet. We've only seen one full season, and we're about to enter season 2. I don't really think we have to worry about a head coach or general manager opening in Atlanta until after the 2026-27 season. It's just not going to happen right now, which is a very uncommon take, as we see a lot of people saying, this is now or never. Raheem Morris is going to be giving time to rebuild this team. That's with what they have been doing since the start. They made a big splash play signing Kirk Cousins. It didn't work out, but what they also do, they drafted a quarterback in the first round. You got to give a quarterback time to develop. Think about how long Desmond Ridder had in Atlanta before they fully moved off him. Arthur Blank didn't put pressure like, hey, we need a guy now. It was rumored they really wanted Kirk Cousins, and they landed Kirk Cousins, but it's not Arthur Blank's style to really say, this is it. Win or lose, your job matters. It's just not with what we've seen with his history as an owner. So I'm going to lean to more of the side of they have more time here to continue building their dream for the Falcons, their scenario, what they think they need to do to build a contender. Where I think the Falcons are going to finish, this is very interesting because I'm actually having to reshoot this right now because I shot this before the Tristan Wirfs injury. That really impacts my view on the NFC South as a whole. And I will slightly lean the Bucs winning the division with the Falcons taking second place. That being said, if Michael Penix can be what I think he can be, and he has that translation to the NFL, and it's very smooth, the Falcons will win the division. But right now, I'm just going to have to stick with the favorites in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, giving the Falcons second place and probably a wild card berth as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you'd share this, I greatly appreciate it. This is number 2 of 32 videos of team previews. It's going to be going up in 32 consecutive days. I know it's a little crazy, but hey, I'm crazy. Up next will be the Baltimore Ravens, so if you want to check that out, tune in tomorrow. There'll be a YouTube short that just sums this all up in 60 seconds coming up on the channel later today. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.